This mutation is called Chilling Adaptation, and is played on minor evacuation. We have two mutators active. We have Transmutation, and we have Blizzard. So let us have a look at the masteries while the players get set up. We have 30 points into the Volatile Infested Mastery, 30 points into the Apocalypse Cooldown Mastery, and 30 points into the Infantry Duration Mastery. And Stukov is playing B3, which is something that you would be expecting of Ancalagon when he is playing up against a mutator like Transmutation. And this will also be the reason why I have actually casted this game. Abathur has gone for 30 points into Toxic Nest Damage Mastery, 30 points into Double Biomass Chance Mastery, and then a 10-20 split into the Toxic Nest Charge and the Morph and Evolution Rate Mastery, with Abathur playing the Essence Order Prestige. So this is going to be a very interesting game. So let us talk about this mutator, Transmutation. Very difficult to deal with mutator. Generally speaking, you do not want to pick commanders such as Stukov for this kind of mutation because you are just going to create a huge hybrid farm and make Picky very, very proud. But in this case, Ancalagon has gone for that, and he has also put a little bit of a tribute to the god of co-op, that is Eddie. So this is going to be a very interesting game. Transmutation mechanics are kind of interesting when it comes to, when people try and figure out how it works and whatnot. So let's talk about the Transmutation mutator a little bit. Whenever an enemy unit deals damage, there is a percentage chance that it will transmutate up to a more dangerous unit and it'll climb up the tech tree. If you are looking for those tiers are available on Starcraft2coop.com's mutator page. But generally speaking, what usually ends up happening is that it ends up at a major hybrid, which is either a hybrid dominator or a hybrid behemoth. Now, any ability that blocks damage, so we're talking about things like Nova's defensive drones or defensive matrices from Swan's Science Vessels, Artanis's shield overcharge, by extension the Guardian Shell as well, but anything that prevents damage from being dealt means that the enemy unit will not transmutate up, and this is generally speaking why you want commanders with barrier abilities so that you reduce the chances of transmutation taking place. Now, when you're playing with a commander like Stukov and you have something like this, Infested Troopers, which are basically cannon fodder, you are kind of asking for a very hard time. And that is why I casted this game, because I do like to cast games where, you are playing commanders that generally speaking are not a good idea when it comes up against this mutation. Now, that's one thing to also note, if you are going to play Abathur and you're thinking about your Brutalisks and whatnot, Brutalisks are good, but do remember that when enemy units die, they can spawn Locusts, and Locusts are not very good when it comes to Transmutation. If you are looking for commander recommendations, I do the weekly mutation shorts every week that gives you a few commanders that you can try and take a shot at when it comes to the weekly mutation. I generally speaking do not feature commanders like Zeratul or Stetman or Tychus because they're really overpowered, but if you're not sure, then you can have a look at that video and see some other ideas for which commanders you can play. So first evacuation ship does go down. These commanders are not going to be dealing with the first evacuation ship for obvious reasons. They are not ready to deal with the hybrid farm. So there is a scout over here that needs to be dealt with. It is going to try and attack the Viper that Abathur has created, and by this time you should probably start to see what the plan is for dealing with this. So Stukov is going to start pushing his army forward right now. He does have a few bunkers out, so 4 bunkers out for Stukov right now, and that Viper is going to start picking up some more of his biomass and become a fairly fat Viper. So far, a 58 out of the 103 biomass has been picked up. Viper just takes a little bit of a step back here, and I think the goal now is to try and take this expansion because they will want to optimize their hybrid farming shenaniganry. So given that the first evacuation ship has gone down, so the first evacuation ship was being launched over here, it means that they have a little bit more time before the second evacuation ship launches, which means that they will have a little more time to get their expansion up and get the rest of their stuff up and running. But do remember, Stukov is a really, really bad commander for this mutation. I cannot even begin to describe how bad of a commander Stukov is, because even his Alexander starts dropping these little things here, and these things will end up dying. And remember, whenever your enemy unit kills a player unit there's a 100% chance it will transmutate up to a higher tier. And do note, if the Amon unit kills a heroic unit, it will transmutate up all the way up to major hybrid. So either a hybrid dominator or a hybrid behemoth, as I mentioned earlier. So it can get very, very nasty very quickly. But the two expansions are going to get set up right now. Stukov will be building it on site, and now there is going to be a harass wave moving towards the second evacuation ship. And remember, because they lost that first evacuation ship, the next ship that they lose is basically GG. They will lose the game. So there is absolutely no leeway when it comes to this. Every single defense has to be perfect, and given the large number of Vipers that are present, we'll probably already be having an idea what the plan is here. Now do remember that ultimate evolutions are unavailable for Abathur, so there's no chance that one of these Vipers is just going to accidentally transmute to... There's no chance that one of these Vipers is just going to automatically evolve into a Leviathan and lose all its biomass. So that's actually kind of convenient. But this harass wave is on the way right now, and this is also one of the really convenient things. Mutator safety zones are a thing, so even though the Blizzard Mutator moves over the expansion, these units will not be taking damage. You can see that they turn white as opposed to red when they are actually able to deal damage. So we have some Vipers over here. The very nice parasitic bomb on the Medivacs, taking out the Medivacs over here. And these Vipers are just going to start slowly building up. Biomass collection is a little bit low. There's about 200 biomass that has not been picked up so far. It will get a little bit messy, but I think I'd like to see a little bit more biomass pick up here for Abathur. But he does have a good number of Vipers already ready and good to go. And this next evacuation ship now will get ready to be launched by Stukov, and Abathur is going to be guarding this, and this is going to be a very, very difficult defense. Usually the earlier ships are the trickier ones to deal with also sometimes, especially when you're dealing with a commander that intentionally feeds the Transmutation Mutator. There's going to be a lot of hybrids, and yeah, we do have some blinding clouds, or disabling clouds as they are actually called in co-op, because they have slightly different effects to the blinding clouds on the ladder. Overall, these Vipers are ready and good to go. The evacuation ship is currently launching. Vipers already in position over here, and they are just going to be casting some more disabling clouds, and Stukov needs to try and get the rest of his army up and running. Again, remember that Amon's units cannot actually attack as long as the disabling clouds are over this area here. So the whole goal now right now is to try and play as pacifist as Abathur can play and just spam the disabling clouds all over the ship to prevent Amon from dealing damage. And this ship is pretty much, I think, okay. There are a few Banshees over here. Banshees are a bit of a problem. The Banshees will transmutate as soon as they deal a little bit of damage to Stukov's bunkers, which means now it's going to end up as a random Widow Mine and whatnot. Widow Mine does end up detonating, turns into Reaper. Reaper ends up dying, and so far so good. Actually reasonably clean defense here. Nothing really too much of an issue. These Vipers are just going to attack at the Phoenix, taking the Phoenix out, and this evacuation ship is going to launch right now, and that is really, really good. So 370 biomass still unpicked up by Abathur, so he might be picking some more of this biomass up along the way, but the next evacuation ship is very likely going to be this one. So Stukov is just going to send a few more units over here just to try and start clearing this evacuation ship out. And Abathur has already a good number of Vipers, and we have some detection as well for Stukov. So far, so good. Very, very smooth here for these two commanders. Stukov is just going to slowly... So many Widow Mines. There's so many Widow Mines over here. I'm not sure if that was an attack wave or not. I don't think it was an attack wave. I think it's just these infesteds that are transmutating up into Widow Mines. But yeah, one of the unfortunate things as well about this mutation is that these blizzards, they move over the evacuation ships, which makes it even more nasty because units are just inevitably going to take down some yoinking over here from the bunkers, which is kind of funny. There's already an attack wave moving up here. Alexander moves forward here. There's going to be a lot of transmutation happening over here. Remember, these things will end up dying eventually to whatever is there, and there is going to be a little bit of a trail of units that's coming up along the way. The Alexander cannot stall for very long. There's a random carrier that ends up being created over here. Carrier will end up going down. As long as they end up as air units, I think it is fine, but it's just inevitable that the Alexander will go down and something's just going to get transmuted up. But Stukov has already rerouted some of his infested. He figured, you know what, since my guys are here, might as well start to push in and clear out the rest of this base. So this should be pretty good. And there's a little bit more time as well before the evacuation ship launches, so a little bit more time to get everything in control. And what is Stukov doing here? He has... Okay, he's got his level 2 attack upgrades, and he's going for the infested colonist compound upgrades as well, so that's really good. Abathur basically doesn't need any upgrades. He's just chilling right now here, so all is Good for Abathur. Some more yoinks. Just trying to save these bunkers, preventing them from taking unnecessary damage from the blizzard. Abathur being a good ally and helping his ally out. Okay, Eradicators have spawned as well. Blightbringer has despawned. And I think this evacuation ship is ready to get launched. And again, there are going to be a lot of Banshees that will be spawning here. Abathur getting some more Vipers as well along the mix here. And let us see if can we get the view of Abathur, because then we might be able to see the... We might be able to see some of the biomass balls that are there on the map. There's 300 biomass, or almost 400 biomass right now that has not been picked up by Abathur, and I actually cannot see... They might be actually in these little bases here. Yeah, okay, that's where they are. So Abathur may want to try and re-rally around there to try and pick those up, but right now Abathur is doing okay when it comes to his Viper counts. Unfortunately, all these Vipers are getting trapped inside the Blizzard, so they will need to be moved out of the way and maybe even healed up a little bit, but I think these bunkers are going to be fine as well. They are able to out-heal the Blizzard damage that's being dealt. Remember that they have a Plague Munitions, Retinal Augmentation, all really, really good here. We're doing okay. Banshees have spawned right now. These Banshees will not actually last very long before they transmutate up to something else. But we have some Stalkers. One Viper gets pulled back. Very nice micro there on the Viper. Pulls that Viper back. That Viper needs to get out of the way, and there needs to be a Mend that's also being utilized here. This one Hybrid, somewhat confused as to what to do. It's stuck inside the Blinding Cloud, doesn't know where to go. Wants to cast his ability, but cannot do anything because everything has been disabled over here, and some more Blinding Clouds as well. These Phoenixes are trying to take out these Vipers, but the Vipers are going to win because there are a large number of them so far. So far, 4 Vipers have died in this engagement. I think it must have been this engagement, and now this is where bad things happen. But the evacuation ship has launched, and now there are just a bunch of hybrids that need to be dealt with, but the Vipers are going to start disabling all these things, and as long as the Hybrid Dominator does not end up casting its ability like that, then everything is good. But I think the Hybrid Dominator did get one more of those Vipers. Total of 7 Vipers have died so far in this engagement, and this is just a slugfest right now. Stukov is going to try and deal with this, but on the right side there is a lot of extra biomass here for Abathur to pick up, so he might be a very happy pan. Some more storms coming down as well on these Vipers, but yeah, very, very annoying. Trying to take out these hybrids. Finally, now this hybrid will start to walk into the Blinding Clouds, accept its fate, and die. So what is production looking like? We have one more Viper being produced by Abathur. There is a drop attack coming up over here. This drop attack should really not be able to deal anything. The only chance is there might be a small chance there would be a cloaked unit spawning, but I don't think that is a very likely thing to happen, so this should be okay as well. Viper's doing a little bit more yoinks here. Some more fresh Vipers joining in as well, and they'll just pick up all this biomass. Total of 2,500 biomass right now, but Abathur, I think, is maxed out on his Vipers. So all his Vipers are as fat as they can be. At least most of them are. So Stukov is going to start pushing in now into this next evacuation ship. And again, it's going to be a little bit of a slow fight here. He has to be very wary of the transmutation, especially with these Banshees. These Banshees pretty much are a guaranteed transmutation, but they do end up turning up into Widow Mines, so not really too bad. And this area will fall as well. He has to re-rally his bunkers, and the bunkers are moving in as well. They do get trapped by one of these blizzard things here. Abathur already in position to deal with this drop attack that is coming up forward this evacuation ship, and this is going to be really, really good here. So you'll see how he's actually going to deal with all of them. He's going to parasitic bomb them. I think even he might end up yoinking them as well to just give that little bit of a stun so they cannot move out of the way. So see what's going to be going up over there. Yeah, some parasitic bombs. There we go. Those are the yoinks. The yoinks will stun the medevacs for a little bit of time. That gives Abathur a little bit a higher chance of actually dealing a good amount of damage to them with parasitic bomb. But Stukov is already ready. He's sitting at 198 supply. What does he have in production? Yeah, he's just producing some more bunkers here in preparation for the next phase. And Eddie looking over the glory that is the bunkers, spinning around in circles and circles. Okay, this evacuation ship now is ready to be launched. So, 2 minutes on the timer. I think this one is not too bad. It may get a little bit messy as soon as the hybrids start to spawn. The Abathur's Vipers are already in position and they are ready to go. And you can see these disabling clouds getting a lot of good value, and all really, really good here. All these Vipers are just chilling right in the center, making sure nothing bad happens. And They're casting a few disabling clouds over here on some of these harass waves, some of these attack waves, and the rest of it is all pretty much nothing else to see. And actually, right now, Stukov is starting to get to a point in the game where he doesn't really care about transmutation. So, P3 Stukov is strong enough such that after a certain amount of time, it doesn't really matter if transmutation is active. His infestor is just so strong, especially because he has his level 3 attack upgrades, he has his retinal augmentation upgrade, and he also has his plague munitions upgrade, which increases the bunker damage. So, it's actually pretty insane. It allows the bunkers to heal up even faster than they normally would. I do not know why it's bugged like that, but there's a bug which causes this upgrade, which states that it only affects the damage that is being dealt by infested units. For some reason, it also heals bunkers or something like that. It's a really weird interaction. I'm not really sure what the reason is, but you can see here the effectiveness of these Vipers. He's just placed disabling clouds all over the map, and these hybrids are unable to deal damage. And usually these are the issues that the commanders have. It's, dealing with these fat hybrids that just do not end up dying. But you can see here, this hybrid is just like confused, unable to do. It's just stuck over there. It's just what? Oh, okay, never mind. I thought the hybrid like clipped through the map and it just got stuck, but apparently. Either that was the case, or it managed to find a way of unstucking itself. So that's the other thing as well. There's a lot of units over here. They need to be careful. Abathur's Vipers aren't particularly tanky, even though they're sitting at about 712 HP. But Vipers, like Vikings for example, can just blast these things out of the sky, and that would be kind of bad. And now we have a Reaver on the ground. There are some Liberators over here as well. Vipers getting stuck in the blizzard. They will have to try and fight this. But where are they going? They are trying. Okay, he's trying to go and help his ally out by casting some disabling clouds, because those things are causing a few problems for his ally, but eventually his hybrids will end up going down and getting deleted reasonably quickly. But over here there is another hybrid here, and is this hybrid stuck? The hell is going on here? And you guys thought that hybrids could not fly and not through the terrain. By the way, this thing will be... It is very common to see this when transmutation is active. You will see a lot of hybrids clipping through terrain and, pathing on areas like this area, which is, like, unpathable because it's just how transmutation works. So, usually, the reason why this happens is, like, an air unit will kill something and turn into a hybrid. The air unit was an area that is, like, unpathable by ground unit, so you have these weird things as well. You'll sometimes see it also on Chain of Ascension. Like, especially when on the final push, when the Jannar is about to get pushing the Amon's champion into the pit, you will sometimes see stuff that is spawning inside the pit because of how transmutation works. So it's one of the little quirks of the game. It's kind of fun to see that the devs actually like found a way of just dealing with this as well and just pushing it out, but something to be aware of. There is a very healthy number of Vipers right now. 4,000 biomass has been dropped on the ground. Well, where is Abathur going? Okay, Abathur is just going a little quest to try and pick up. Okay, he's gonna go and intercept this attack wave, which is, I guess, okay. And this Viper over here is just getting caught in the blizzard, and lots of parasitic bombs. Medevacs trying to get away, but those medevacs are unable. There's gonna be a lot of oh, actually they did. Oh, that is unfortunate. Oh, just a little bit too late. And medevac did end up unloading its 1 siege tank or 2 siege tanks in there, so that is going to be a little bit of a problem. There's another attack wave over here, lots of parasitic bombs, and are there going to be any more yoinks? There are no yoinks here. Everything has been, or at least some of the units have been unloaded, and the Alexander has been dropped as well to try and deal with this attack wave. So one thing you can do is, like, you can parasitic bomb and then yoink the medevac, and that will cause the medevac to be stunned for a short amount of time, which means it's not going to boost, which means that it will end up dying to the parasitic bomb, which is something that you can also utilize to your advantage if you decide to do this meme-like strategy on this map and torture your co-op ally in the process. But there is a panic launch here, so that is somewhat unfortunate as well. It does cause the attack waves to misalign from the ships, so that is also something to take into consideration. So we have a 2-minute timer now on this ship. And I think there is another attack wave coming up towards player spaces over here. So where is Abathur going to go? Is he going to deal with the attack wave, or is he going to deal with the slew of infested? I think he wants to try and deal with the attack wave over here. So he's going to be moving into position. There is a set of medevacs now coming in, and I don't think he's he needs to be able to yoink them all. Yeah, there we go. So he does end up yoinking all those medevacs. Those medevacs will die to the auto attack from the Vipers. There are some more parasitic bombs being casted on the science vessel. There is a hybrid over here and a bunch of Thors that are very upset now with the Vipers. The Vipers are just going to get out of there, and now the Vipers will need to move back and try and back up his ally. I mean, you can see here, like, Stukov just moved his infested colonist compound as well, the rest of his bunkers as well, and he's able to hold right now because, like, his infested are actually kind of good when he has a large enough number of them. And this is the issue I was talking about, is because that ship was panic launched, this one now is also in the process of a panic launch and is 2 minutes and 35 seconds away from launching. And unfortunately, there are no real defenses there for Stukov and Abathur, because especially these areas will start to hatch as well, and it will cause a few problems for these commanders. They will need to hurry up. 14 seconds left on the timer, and Abathur will have to make a beeline for that ship and just try and guard and stall the infested, which he should have absolutely no problems doing over here. This one Viper is sitting at 271 HP. There's a huge biomass ball over there that he hasn't picked up yet, but he's doing okay here, and now that ship is going to be launching. So Stukov has re-rallied his infested over. He's going to be dropping some engineering bays, and yes, that is right, engineering bays, and the goal of this is to just stall. The engineering bay, I think, is one of the fastest structures to construct based on the amount of HP that it has available, so the goal here is to just Hodor until the ship launches. There is no plans for actual defense here. So Abathur is already in position. I think Abathur can essentially solo this ship right now. I don't think they'll have any problems in just stalling the attack, the infested, because he has pretty much unlimited disabling clouds available to him. I say this as I look at the energy bars, and they're all almost empty. But remember that he also has his consumption ability, so you can utilize that as well on some of his allied units. I think it works on ally units as well. But 43 seconds left until the launch of this ship, and I think it's all good. Again, aberrations spawn. The aberrations are basically the biggest threat to this evacuation ship here, so some more disabling clouds being casted just around this evacuation ship just to make sure it doesn't get slapped by these aberrations. These aberrations are the things that will actually take down the ship really, really quickly. I think a lot of people do not appreciate how much damage an aberration can do against these evacuation ships, but lots of disabling clouds over here. Aberrations can do pretty much nothing against this, and this ship is going to end up launching right now, and all is good. And I think that is probably the last evacuation ship. I think I kind of lost count, but I think that is the last evacuation ship. All is good here. So, one evacuation ship lost, but the rest have been saved, and that is GG.